The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, offer no resistance to one who is evil. When someone strikes you on your right cheek, turn the other one to him as well. If anyone wants to go to law with you over your tunic, hand him your cloak as well. Should anyone press you into service for 1 mile, go with him for 2 miles. Give to the one who asks of you, and do not turn your back on the one who wants to borrow." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
This is a very difficult saying of Jesus. There are a lot of sayings of Jesus that are pleasing and consoling to read, but this one is quite challenging. Martin Luther King Jr. Found it challenging too, and he, in trying to develop a nonviolent approach to peace and justice, he thought that this passage in particular really would only work in between individuals who were at odds with one another. He didn't think it would work for whole societies who were torn by division. But then as he tried to practice it in his own life, he began to realize that it actually could work at the level of nations and factions within nations. He said it would be challenging and it would take a lot of time. But he said if you practice nonviolence, if you turn the other cheek, you're probably not going to immediately convince the other person that they're wrong and that you're right. But what will happen if you practice nonviolence, if you are the group or the person who's being oppressed, if you practice nonviolence, Martin Luther King Jr. found that it gave you back your dignity. You did not resort to the indignity of violence. The indignity of violence robbed you of your dignity. So I think as we look at our country and all of the divisions and all of the factions and all of the fighting within our country, it's probably time that those who are in positions of privilege and those who are in positions of power recognize the dignity of people who have been subject to all sorts of violence and injustice. At the end of this reflection that Martin Luther King Jr. gave on this passage, he said it's not a choice between violence and nonviolence. It's a choice between violence and non-existence.